It's like I'm walking on sunshine.
This is Doomcast number 40. My name is Doug Owen. I am joined by our co-founder, Charlie McGrath here.
Yo.
On this Wednesday evening. We've actually been making it on time. It's pretty amazing considering all the places that Charlie McGrath ends up doing the show from.
I'm in the home studio. I'm in the home studio tonight, Doug Owen, and
the Doom Bunker.
Yes, the Doom Bunker. It was the Wide Awake News radio bunker a few minutes ago, but now it's the Doom Bunker. It just switched hats, and I think this is the third in a row I've been home, and I'm really glad. Although with developments, I'm sure we'll get into comedic as they are and horrific and doomy as they are, with developments in China for my personal life, I could be very well taking a little scoot over across the pond here pretty quick, and that's going to be a tough program, Doug.
Something Wong.
Yeah, something Wong indeed. Skype works in China, and so I think we could pull it off. And I would love.
Now, why don't they censor you? Why can you jump beyond the firewall? Why can you get to blacklistednews.com? What's the deal? If you're an American, do they give you different internet? I'm just curious.
Because I communicate every single day with the factory in China via Skype, and so I know it works because he's sitting in Boding, China. And I'm Skyping away with him. So I don't know. I mean, the odds of us actually being able to pull off an audio recording, a Doomcast number, whatever, in China and the U.S. are very slim. But, well, you know, if I'm over there, we're going to try it because this is now 40. We have graduated to the silver hair, as you said before. I'm not going to go to exactly where that silver hair is. However, we've graduated to senior citizenship here at Doomcast number 40, and we've not missed one. And like you said, we've been...
Senior citizenship, you're going to offend a lot of people out there. 40 is not a senior. 40 is the new 27.
Well, that's good, because I'm 44, and that means I'm the new...
Do you feel like you're over the hill? Do you feel like you're ready to get that discount, cheap coffee in the morning at Denny's?
You're GD right, I do. You're GD right, I do.
Are you getting AARP promos
AR-15
in the mail or anything like that?
I'm getting AR-15 literature all the time.
I saw that.
I got AARP when I turned 30. You probably have gotten their little letter saying, "Hey, you're getting old, dude." So
yeah.
one day,
you're blowing all of your money, and the government's wait. That's not what they're telling you. Actually, never mind.
They're all on board on Obamacare, the old AARP.
Of course they are. I mean, because that's what we're paying for. We're paying into the system that's going to, allow these people to
use it.
Yeah, to use it. I mean,
there's only 11 million of them every single year that are falling into that category. And guess what? It ain't fixed, and it is broke. So people like me, you are a few years younger than me, but still, you're pushing that age where you should start thinking about, your health care, especially because your friend is Charlie McGrath, and every week you get to hear about the next procedure that he's going for, which I did yesterday. I had another. They call it an operation, but it really wasn't an operation. It was more of just a needle poke in the spine.
Ugh.
Yeah, it sucked.
Man.
I'll tell you that right now.
Telling you.
It sucked.
The reason that you're paying so much out there, people, is because every week Charlie McGrath is at the doctor blowing it up.
I spent $10,000 yesterday of insurance money. I don't know what my cut's going to be on that. I've long since stopped worrying about it. And you know what I've learned is if you send the hospital $10 a month, they'll cash that check. And once they cash that check, they've entered into an agreement. They can say all they want about you got a year to pay it off, this, that, and the other thing. But I got a lot of good friends that are in the legal profession, and and they cash a check. You've entered into a contract, and they have agreed to the terms thereof.
The only deal is that they will put that on your credit rating. They'll hold that $100,000 heart attack against you next time you try to buy a house.
That is and isn't true. If you negotiate it, it is true. If you ignore, you're gonna end up in a place you don't want to be if you care about your number, your FICO score. If you don't, then screw it. Send them money, and next millennium you'll get it paid off. If you do care, then you talk with the hospital and you say, this is what I can afford, and I'm exaggerating. You can't owe them $10,000 and then send them $10 a month, but they'll work within your means. And if you do that, now this is at least I'm assuming this is the same across the country. But if you talk to their finance department and you don't ignore the problem, and then you're consistent with your obligation, then nothing's going to happen. You're just going to send them money every month, and it's not going to end up anywhere.
Yeah, and if you're paying for insurance, you're going to do the same thing. Basically, you're paying no matter what.
That's right.
Until we get to a place where there's a single payer healthcare system, or worse,
or worse, yeah, or gulag that you go into and they just euthanize you.
The VA has been getting a lot of. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that even with all the procedures that you've heard about with me, since we started Doomcast, by the way, there's been a lot. 40 short weeks ago. Hold on, I'm adjusting my mic because it's moving. All right, so even with everything, 10 years ago, I thought I was an idiot for paying for insurance because I never had a health issue until about 41 years old, and then all hell started to unravel with the respiratory system, and then this latest one is my spine. We can get into that if you want to, but it's kind of
spineless bastard.
No, I got a spine. They shoved a needle in it, and I felt it. Whoa. It's there. But even with all that, even with all this expense, and it's been it's pushing $100,000 in the last several years, it still doesn't reach the contributions made in the 12 years I've worked for the company I work for. It doesn't reach the contributions made by myself and my employer. My boss is my best friend. Besides you, Doug Owen, you're number one on my list, although I'm number 5. Yeah, I'm top 5 on yours. We know that from last week's program. But even with all the expense, we're still in this latest one yesterday, which will come in about 10,000. We're still thousands and thousands and thousands away from the money that that has been contributed under my insurance program, either by myself or myself plus what the employer puts in. So it's a really, really strong argument for individual personal health savings accounts, because now you have a high deductible or catastrophic policy that if you're completely you have to have open heart surgery and it's $500,000, you're covered. But the rest.
But here's
of this,
the problem. You mentioned it. People that are 18 years old aren't going to be putting into something that's optional that they can put that they don't have to put into. And I'm not saying that the government should take money from you or create some account for you or whatever the Affordable Health Care Act pretends to do for you. I'm not sure what actually is going to happen with any of this, because it's really kind of still up in the air. Although I don't really, I'm not holding my breath for Ted Cruz to save us from Obamacare, but nonetheless. The thing is that you make a great point for people that are responsible adults that would think about this. But, man, when you're 18 years old, you're invincible.
Yeah. Well, and it isn't right that, you're right. You are invincible. And the truth, the statistics, right, the actuary tables show that they kind of are. You're not really going to use your policy, between the ages of we're talking about here, 18 to 40. In most cases, these kids don't need it. They don't need an expensive policy. But then you have the balancing act of how do you pay for the 40-plus-year-olds. And, the issue has been turned into how are we going to pay for this, not how do we get to be so ridiculously expensive in our health care. And our health care, the costs of it are directly related to the government involvement in health care and in the government involvement in education over the last 30-plus years. And no one makes this argument more eloquently than Ron Paul, talking about how he's a physician and how he's seen this transformation is when the government's involved in education, it skyrockets out of control, including your medical education. When the government becomes, through Medicaid, Medicare, and all other kinds of programs, becomes involved with health care, it becomes ridiculously expensive. And so what we have is a system that is completely inflated, the pricing for it, the cost of it, and anybody who's ever been involved, even going to an urgent care, you feel lucky if you get a Band-Aid and $100 bill. You can see the result of that. It completely outstrips reality. And, so we have this debate now of how do we pay for it, and we really need to be having the conversation of how do we get to this place where it's just so prohibitive. If you don't tax the 18-year-olds, you can't pay for the 50-year-olds. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that if the market dictated what the price would be, then it would be a lot less if you didn't have all of the legal red tape and all of the other...
And government.
Well, I mean, government does serve a certain role in this, and I think that if you had completely privatized health care, I mean, if you look at the places where there's no government health care and completely privatized health care, and even the ones that are completely subsidized by taxpayers, I think the only difference is that here in this country we pay for the R&D. In Canada you get great drugs, but there's no huge advents of new technology in that realm coming out of Canada. Not to say that there aren't probably examples. So all of you Canadians out there with your square wheels, I understand it. I understand. I'm sure that there are people there that are brilliant, doing great work, and GlaxoSmithKline's probably, doing stuff in Canada or whatever. But my point is that we pay for all of the R&D in this country. We also have we have a very, very federalized and financialized system that is we force hospitals to take people in that maybe have no health care whatsoever, that's
because we're not savages, Doug Owen. I mean,
but you have to pay for it. We collectively pay for those things. I mean, I think that I love these ideas of people taking responsibility for themselves, and
I do too.
For that to really work, then you have to have the cold hard consequences of not having some kind of net for those that don't have foresight. For those, here's the deal. I mean, you say, well, you look at how much you're spending on healthcare. Okay, tomorrow, if you find out that you have leukemia, then everything that you put in plus, whatever you're spending today will probably not even be a percentage, a tiny, 1% of what you're going to end up spending or what your health insurance is going to spend, trying to fix you. So. Yeah, you can't say, well, sometimes it works out better this way, sometimes it doesn't, because the whole thing is that it's risk and reward. That's the health insurance companies figure, well, you're probably going to live a while and not everybody dies, so they're basically betting on you to make it till the next payment. Yeah. Sometimes they lose. Sometimes Charlie McGrath falls apart and they have to pay for it. And usually they don't do a good job of that, and they do it reluctantly. But nonetheless, I mean, I'm not somebody here trying to advocate for insurance companies. I just think that when somebody thinks that there's going to be this simple, easy solution that's going to be equitable for all, that doesn't exist. If you want more of a freer market, then you have to push more of that on the charities. And I think that people would do that. I mean, if you look back 50 years ago, you had a lot of religious hospitals, for lack of a better term. You had St. Ed's or whatever, different, Christian and other faith-based.
No, I think there's definitely places. A place for that. I think there's definitely a place for do-it-yourself, right? Encourage that, to encourage public hospitals that are, backed by whatever. I don't care if it's, the Muslims or the Christians or whatever. Encourage that kind of charitable giving. And you're right, Americans are stupid generous. They absolutely would do it, but that's not encouraged. What's encouraged is more bureaucracy. And as we've learned, as being awake and knowing that who the bureaucracy serves, it isn't the people. I agree with you that government has a place. I agree with you that I mean, I don't know if you agree with me on this or not. I know it's a neocon argument, which I don't think you are, but it is the neocon. Oh, we're paying for these illegals going into the emergency room. That's crap. That's crap. I mean, either we're a civilized nation and we're human beings and we're going to help the people that need it, or we're not. It isn't.
Well, that's the price of cheap labor. That's the big price. People, we don't want these illegal immigrants here. That's the price of a cheap home, having people that don't live in this country build it for you. That's what you end up having to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just one of those costs. And so when I look at it, I look at it much differently. I look at where people expect to pay $1.50 for a burger. Guess what? Those workers are going to be on Medicaid, WIC. They're going to be on some kind of subsidization from the government. So you're not winning. The business is paying. We talked about this before. Upwards of probably $15 an hour for some of these employees once they pay for unemployment insurance, once they pay for all of the other things that they're required to, at least in the state of Texas. It's very expensive, even for a minimum wage employee. So, long story short, people that are at the bottom rung are being able to go out there and be good consumers and keep the stock market going with this consumer society because the government subsidizes them, and that's why they have this, that they can live, pretty much off of a very, very meager paycheck.
Yeah, but my point is, I agree with everything you just said there.
Right.
But I'm looking at it from a perspective of you talk like that, and I hear corporate welfare. I hear that we're going to blame.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is corporate welfare. But we have a narrative at times, especially 2014. We're going to start hearing the red staters come out in droves about the cost of facilitating the kind of people that you're talking about right now and a lifestyle that they're living beyond their means type of thing. But we don't understand. I think a lot of times as a nation we don't understand that is minuscule in comparison to the amount of money that we're dumping in, and even the WIC program or even food stamps. It is a corporate subsidy. It is benefiting J.P. Morgan to issue food stamps in 37 states in this nation.
Sugar farmers. Corn producers. It's really it's a payday for big agra.
That's right. And so the corporate welfare state, I think, is and that includes across the spectrum.
Keep them stupid and eating corn and sugar. Mm-hmm. Big profits.
This is boring. Let's move on.
Yeah, I'm totally dead with. Yeah, go ahead.
I got something I want to play. I'm rare to bring a clip to the program, but on this very night I did. You got a minute for me, Doug?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Sure, let's do this thing.
It's all the prep I'm going to give here. Here we go.
And
now,
then,
taking a step a little bit further, what about that privately funded media or news organizations? What effect will this have on them?
That's a good question, and I guess on the onset of it, you could see the tenor and the tone of Washington, D.C., of politicians. You can see this tenor kind of changing to a nationalistic type of point of view. In fact, I was having a discussion with my co-founder of Doomcast, Doug Owen, today, and we were talking exactly about the nationalistic slant that things are moving to in this country. And we have this 2014 election, then 2016 coming up. It could get to the point where the NBCs or the alphabet networks are afraid to say anything that's counter the status quo or the agenda in Washington, D.C.
There it is. You're
nice
famous.
plug. Mine sucked. Mine wasn't even worth playing. I was like, Doomcast.com.
I got to work it in. You got to work it in so first of all, they don't cut it, right? Because you don't want to end up with it on the editing room floor. And that was 6 minutes into that was 5 minutes into an 8-minute interview. And the whole time I'm trying to figure out how to get your name, because that was the promise, right? That was the promise last week. That this RT interview is coming up. I think we did it Wednesday night. I think I did that night.
Yeah.
And I was going to get your name out there as well as Doomcast. And guess what? I did it. But you know what's weird? And you heard me talking. That's right. I'm a champion of the plug. What's strange is they sent me the video link, and not every interview ends up on the YouTube channel, right? They're the largest news producer on YouTube, period. But, they record 24/7, so not every clip ends up there. So when it doesn't, they'll send me a clip, like in this case, they'll cut it out, they'll send it to me, and then I can post it wherever. And if I go that route, then, it'll get 1,000 to 10,000 views, let's say. Well, I put this up there, and that's what I was talking to Bonnie about before the program. It's gone. It's gone. And
what do you
YouTube,
mean it's gone?
It's gone. It's not on my YouTube channel anymore. It was taken. Yeah. And I have to assume, this is, I don't know, interview number 100 with RT. I have to assume it's because I mentioned Doug Owen.
You think?
I know. Actually, I think the reason why is because they sent it to me. The title of it is Charlie McGrath exclusive interview with RT International, and that's how they title it. Now, I changed the title to Government Pimping U.S. Media, because that's kind of the whole crux of that interview.
I like it a lot.
And it was up there, and I sent you a link to it. I sent Craig a link to it. I think it was up on Doomcast. I might be wrong. It isn't now. Good luck. Try to find it. It ain't there. Or if you click on it, it's going to say video pulled down because it is not in my video library. So it is pulled, and it's been bizarre over at Google lately because
it's empty. I'm looking at it. It's just a piece of just your text here.
It's gone, and I did not pull it down. I never pull down videos ever. I mean, I leave them up there. So, but it has been really bizarre over there. I've been getting nasty grams from them. Mainly, it's been in the last month or so, and it is the Doomcast remixes. Every single one of them they flag.
Why?
And I think it's because, and you might have heard me instruct Bonnie, do not put advertising. You have that option when you post that video. You can leave it naked, or you can put advertising on it. And I told her, do not put advertising on it, because every time I put advertising on something that isn't just me talking, I'm getting flagged. And they're sending me a little nasty note saying, can you prove that that picture of, whatever, a bald eagle is your own content? And I can't, right? That stuff's just grabbed off.
You know what? I had to go through a lot of rigmarole for my intro song. When I was putting it on YouTube, they wanted to see the actual purchase. They wanted proof that I own this ditty.
Cowley?
Oh. No, this one. I had to pay a good amount of money. Not a huge amount of money, but a somewhat phenomenal fee to have the rights to that song.
Yeah, and it's music is crazy. And there's a little secret for everybody out there.
You can find free or royalty-free music. Just Google royalty-free.
No, they have it. They have it on YouTube. I mean, you can use their archive to put up there.
It's kind of cheesy.
Yeah, it is really cheesy. It's really cheesy. But this is what I've been told by people in the know. Now, it's evolving all the time as technology and algorithms obviously evolve. But it used to be if you play more than 10 seconds is when they're the switches come on and they start sniffing a little closer. So, like when I broadcast, when I upload the rinse program, I make sure when I edit it, if I plan on putting advertising, if I'm not going to put advertising on it, then I've never had been flagged and or had anything pulled down. But when you start to monetize it is when they get all cranky about it. But 10 seconds, I'll make sure I clip it to where there's only a few seconds of music playing, and then it won't get questioned. But
there you go, YouTubers. There you go.
Yeah, a little inside YouTube baseball. But the RT interview getting pulled, unless I was on some kind of night of that I don't remember, that they pulled that down. But I don't remember getting a notice from them or anything like that. So
weird.
I don't know. It could be RT complained. Maybe they complained because I re-uploaded one of their videos. So I don't know.
Is it on?
I don't know.
But anyway, yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons people need to support this show. We've talked about it before. Stephen Molyneux, I guess he lost his YouTube channel. Maybe he protested.
Way.
Yeah, this was then I went and looked at it, and it's back up. I don't know if he went back up. I've seen a few of these, and I always wonder if they're real. Oh no, my whole channel's been taken down. Next day, it's back up, but because of story. But it shows.
Well, Stephen, him and I have interviewed each other, and he doesn't put advertising on his. He's 100% listener funded. So that's incredible that they would pull his channel. I mean, there's no monetization.
That guy Mark Dice, his channel was pulled. There's a lot of people. I mean, and here's the thing. It goes right back to my point. I tell people all the time about Facebook and their friend pages. It doesn't matter. You don't own it. And then you can complain, say, "Hey, YouTube took my channel down." You're one of thousands that have had their YouTube channel taken down.
Yes.
Because you don't own it. And that's what we have. I think when you look at so much of what's happened to the internet, everybody's basically decided to just use 5 or 6 different platforms, and that is the internet rather than ownership of it. That's why I think it's really important.
Getting more so, Doug. Getting more so to where you wonder how long upstarts and I can't think of any right now, but a company like Twitter coming on board or some other media. Social media outlet, how much longer? And especially with, look at the headlines. Drudge is putting a story out about how media is going to come into more scrutiny under government. It's certainly, this free exchange of information and ideas is a threat. It's a threat, and a lot of these corporations are tied into the programs that we've been talking about for quite some time with NSA and helping spy on the American people.
Yeah, this week we saw that cozy relationship blossom in front of the American people with Eric Schmidt and Google. All of these soft peddling what's been happening and the PRISM program and this basically the Mark Zuckerberg talking to Obama, pretending to be upset about what had happened. All of this is just kind of a ruse, and I think people are starting to kind of see through most of the BS here. But at the same time, man, it's so hard to get people off of the Facebook because that's right. Where everybody's at.
That's right.
It's
that's right. Or another alternative to YouTube. Where? What am I going to do?
Live
am I going to
leak?
Go lively? Yeah. Okay.
Ustream?
So
Vimeo?
Sure, you can go there. I'm not saying there's not outlets, but I'm saying, 1 out of 100 people have ever heard of it.
See, that's the thing. I mean, but that's the pro quo. You get to use their servers. They give you free hosting. They give you the social platform. They give you the interactive community, and they can take it away.
Yeah, no, and I'm not complaining. I guess I am complaining because I said the video's down. I don't know why. But,
no, it's not a complaint. It's just I think it's a cautionary tale. And that's why we built Doomcast.com, so that way we would be able to keep our content. And
except for mine.
Well, that's because it's on YouTube.
That's exactly right. And here's the deal. I realize that, right? I realize that I don't own YouTube. I don't own anything that is broadcast up there other than my mug. So if I decide to clip a picture of an eagle so I can do the Screaming Eagle, waiting for it.
Eagle?
Waiting for it. If I want to put that up there, guess what? They're covering their butts because that's what we do in this society. We cover our butts, and they're going to ask me if I'm going to try to make money on it. They're going to ask me, do I own it? And the truth is, I do not own it. And if they pull it down, or if I break in their rule, I signed on to the rules that they have. It's kind of like Sterling in the NBA. You open your mouth and you're an idiot, you're going to get ejected, and it's not, we're living in free speech. Well, the guy signed a contract, so move on.
Yeah. Well, and it just teaches us that we have to look outside of that. You have to. You can't take it for granted it's going to be there tomorrow.
No, and really, I should. I think I might even have. I know I have a Ustream account because
I do too.
At one point we were broadcasting. Oh, well, yeah, we were broadcasting. Oh, Gary Hendershot, he's a technical wizard. We were broadcasting the Rinse program live on Ustream every night. So I.
Good.
What was that?
I was just snoring him. Sorry. Sorry.
I know.
You? Yes.
Oh, let's move on. Let's keep it peppy. Keep it peppy.
I just hate freaking Facebook, and I hate Google, and I just hate talking about them.
What about Gary Hendershot?
Gary, I love Gary. I love Gary.
Gary's a good guy.
He's a great guy. He has a great presentation. He does the Wide Awake News show, right?
Every Monday he does Wide Awake News, and you love him or you hate him. And you know what? People's tastes are all different, and he's a Southern gentleman, and I love Gary, but I can see both sides of it. People love his presentation, or they do what you just did.
Oh no! I just feel sometimes that I want to get to some news kind of thing, and I think that sometimes you and I get to chit chatting and inside baseball and what the heck's going on.
Let's jump to news.
Okay, you want to talk about Ukraine? I've got some stuff too. Go ahead.
I kind of want to talk about the Ukraine in a real way. I found it interesting that article comes out today, very telling of where the globalists are taking us, the globalist bankers, the cabal of international scumbags that that are, I don't know what other adjectives to use, but the headline is IMF loan to Ukraine in SDRs, not U.S. dollars. And Doug Owen, I find this to be very, very telling, is the path of the U.S. dollar is on. Now, I don't think for one second that the Federal Reserve or the powers that be that make up the ownership of the Federal Reserve, I don't think they were surprised by this at all. But it says, as I said on my program earlier tonight, I also don't think there's a patriotic bone in the body of these bankers. They could care less about what happens to the U.S. dollar. They're looking at the next thing coming down the road in the global financial governance arena, and seeing the Ukraine being bellied up to be put into debt, to be made into indentured servants with SDRs rather than U.S. dollars is a precedent-setting event. It's never happened before, and I found that to be a very underreported headline today.
Well, absolutely. An SDR, for those that don't know, is a special drawing right. It's an IMF currency, and it's based on a basket of currencies. The U.S. dollar is in the basket. So when they say this will be issued in SDRs, it is a U.S. dollar Federal Reserve note backed currency that is special to the IMF.
And if my numbers are right here, we're about 45% dollar, about the same in the euro, and then the pound sterling and some other mishmash in there. I'm not sure. Yeah,
and they've even talked about possibly or what are they called? Hypothecating? That might be it. Putting gold into the basket as well, and some other hard assets. Who knows?
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean the IMF, of course, is the lender of last resort, and things are going pretty piss poorly in Ukraine. They need a lot
and
of
the
money.
rest of Europe. And the rest of Europe. This is the tactic, folks. I mean, the Ukraine and the IMF. This is just the latest, and let's be really, really clear on that. The IMF is slowly, and by slowly I mean over the last 4 or 5 years, engulfing Europe on the peripheral nations. Right? You've seen it in Greece. You've seen it in where else, Doug? Where else inside? I mean,
Spain,
the IMF.
Italy.
Spain, Portugal, Ireland. They've all had the IMF come to the rescue. But when they come to the rescue, let's be clear what they're doing. They're taking banker money and they're giving it back to bankers. And then they're giving the debt to the people of these countries. And along with this debt comes the evaporation of sovereignty. Along with this debt comes the implementation of austerity. And along with this debt comes technocratic control of your country. So, and it's been IMF doling out U.S. dollars, but these SDRs, the SDR special drawing rights, are the first time being used inside Ukraine. And again, I want to be clear on why I believe the Ukraine is in the crosshairs. The European Union, the EU, needs the Ukraine. They need that pathway to energy. They need those trade routes, and they need the natural resources of Ukraine. And they're itching like crazy to get some IMF loanage dumped onto Ukraine so they can technocratically rule that nation.
Well, there's some interesting takeaways from it. Number one, they have to hold on to the East. That's part of the IMF deal. Okay, you cannot have the Balkanization. You cannot have a modern Serbia. You cannot have a breakdown of Slavic nations type situation in Ukraine, or the deal's off. There's some money that's coming out straightforward. Interestingly enough, rumors or reports, Zero Hedge had it that they were going to be buying gold with the money, which doesn't make a lot of sense because apparently their central bank was looted by Lukashenko as he left, and who knows if that's even true. I mean, I maybe. But their gold, they had a lot of gold. Nobody knows where that's at. Some speculate, and there's been reportage that has come to the United States for safekeeping, and that's what we've been doing since World War II, saving and keeping the world's gold here.
Kinda.
Kind of.
If it's there, is the kinda.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of it may be going to China, and some of it might have liens against it. But yeah, the assayers and the accounting at the Federal Reserve and at Fort Knox, who knows, right? What's underneath the Federal Reserve? And on September 11, 2001, a lot of gold went missing from the basements there at the World Trade Centers that have never been officially accounted for. So there's lots of missing money and potential for liens. But I saw this. It's pretty interesting. I mean, of course, this is the pathway. We talked about the destruction of the dollar. One of the things that's happening in the Ukraine is that it is putting pressure on the dollar with these sanctions. It's going to be less U.S. companies, less dollar-seeking entities that will be doing business with Russia, which is going to create. They want to create their own investment bank. They want their own IMF, which. Who could blame them? The BRIC nations, they just had a meeting with Mr. Vladimir Putin, and he called for a new world investment bank headed up by the BRICS. I imagine they could do it, but that shows you how foreign policy is really steered. It's all about development and giving nations money, giving them the debt noose like the IMF. But I saw this at Nation of Change, and you might like this. We got a huge amount of response and comments at blacklistednews.com. 132 nations want out of the cabal banking system. So just in case you haven't been keeping up with the tinfoil hat conspiracies increasingly proven to be true, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York is the center of a secret global economy that has bailed out American International Group, AIG, huge insurance companies like AIG, Goldman Sachs, Incorporated, Merrill Lynch, and Co., J.P. Morgan, Society General, Deutsche Bank, AG, among many. The secret cabal's control over the international markets is becoming less of a mystery as increasing numbers of markets reveal themselves so obvious to be fixed. The cabal cheats the 99% with LIBOR interest rates, foreign exchanges, gold and silver, platinum price fixing. It goes on. So, high-frequency trading, that's become a big, big issue. So, just a few weeks ago, you may not have heard about this, and I just heard about it yesterday. 132 nations decided they've had enough of secret big money, and they are going to, who? General Ban Ki-moon. The United Nations is trying to move to an alternate option for banking services. So you take this and you compound it with what's going on the ground in Ukraine, where you have this IMF intervention through this. And believe you me, I mean, they're going to be paying Gazprom. They're going to be paying Russian companies in SDRs. They will take that, I'm sure. Money's good if it buys product that, the Russians are ready to spend it. Gazprom, Rosneft, the rest. But it's very telling that now Ban Ki-moon, who was on the ground, boots on the ground in Ukraine, is calling for an end to this Western hegemony, the U.S. corporate monster, or Wall Street, as it's better known. And
so the question.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So the question has got to be, Doug Owen. Great article, by the way. Great article. And what do you mean you had a lot of response? Because you posted it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because Ban Ki-moon is making these statements saying that we need an exceptional access policy to systems outside of it. He's talking about the SDR. He's leaning towards that. New banking services created around the SDR.
Okay, so my question to you is this.
Yeah.
And to the general public, the doomer audience listening to this. Is this organic revolt of the cabal of bankers, as perhaps this article would allude, right? Is this something that these nations are fed up and they're wanting out?
They're in debt. They can't get out of the debt. I mean, everybody's looking at the freaking calculator saying, okay, we can never pay this off. We don't have the people to ever pay back these liens. So what are we going to do? I think from my perspective, my thought when I read this article and when I hear about the SDR in Ukraine for the first time ever, and then I read what Doug Casey had to say about it, talking about countries that are selling off dollars and moving into hard assets. That's all legitimate, and I believe that's all happening. But I think I would have to be naive to think that the same people that are being portrayed as in the crosshairs in these articles don't understand that this is coming. And in fact,
have manipulated.
Oh no! Oh, you're cutting out. I think the NSA's slowing you down.
Did I cut out? Did I really cut out?
You just dipped for a second.
All right. Okay. Well, I might have been too inflectious with my voice there, but so the question remains: is this organic, and these countries are just in revolt, or is this something that these Wall Street tycoons, these globalist cabal that own the financial system in this world, they understand exactly what's coming. This is why they're loading up on gold and missing gold. And even though we're talking the SDR and other alternatives, let's not kid ourselves. The same players are wearing just a different hat. These bankers don't die. They just go into another corporation and work for under another umbrella. That's why we have the revolving door policy in government and finance. That's why these guys never can fail. So I personally believe that the dollar demise is part of the plan to implement what Jean-Claude Trichet said so many years ago at the beginning of the 2008 crisis, that we need global financial governance, and the answer is going to be a revolt of nations because they're so immersed in debt they can, as you said, can never pay it back. A world on the edge, financially on the edge, and the solution being handed to us by, it doesn't matter who the spokesman is. It doesn't matter if it's Barack Obama or Moon or Merkel or somebody else, as long as the solution is a banker-engineered solution. And I think that that's what we have in store for us, is drama, crisis, death and destruction, all at the end. At the end of it all, we'll have a solution that is generated for us by a bunch of bankers. Again, I'm on the banker theme.
Well, did you watch the Kentucky Derby this weekend? Or Churchill?
I did not, because I watched. I was gearing up for the Mayweather fight.
Ooh.
Go ahead.
I want to know about that.
I'll tell you about it. That's a little chit-chatty, Doug Owen.
It could be.
Central banker would not be denied.
That's what I ended up seeing. I turned on the television. I was like, oh, look, they got the hats on, all the women at the
mint juleps.
Yeah, and this is the name of one of the horses, and I was like, that's kind of surreal.
Central banker would not be denied.
Oh, my God, that's the best audio clip you've ever put together. Central banker would not be denied.
I had to listen to a lot of audio to find that again.
Tell me there was a 33 on the side of that horse.
I don't.
I bet you there was.
There could have been. I wouldn't doubt that. So I caught that. I mean, some of the other things you're talking about. Who's the pitch man? We're going into the political season. We're going into elections, and you're going to hear a lot more stuff like this.
Waterboarding is how we baptize terrorists.
Oh my God, that was not real, right?
No, that's
you made
real.
that up.
No. Just put it into Google. You'll find Sarah Palin saying all sorts of really stupid things. But that was my favorite.
Waterboarding is how we baptize terrorists.
And people were really excited about that too. They were
When did she say that? You know what I hear? I hear Goebbels there. I hear this nationalistic tenor. As I said in the RT interview, that it's terrifying. That's terrifying.
She looks like she's taken Joe Biden's bright blue, glowing teeth. She's had the whole mouth redo.
Maybe she's on colloidal silver.
No. So anyway, some other stuff's happening in the Ukraine while they're getting the loans. That made me sick.
I'm sorry. Sarah, that waterboard. I mean, this is now. She's not a national elected politician.
No.
But those words reflect on us. And why is she in the spotlight? It has to be for fodder in order to generate some hostility between folk in this country. It's working. Look at me.
Yeah. Well, just remember, it all comes down to
Central banker would not be denied.
You are on fire tonight, Doug Owen.
I try to be. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So you heard, everything that you thought is really happening. Everything that was a conspiracy theory last week, once again, remains to be true. CIA and FBI agents are advising the Ukrainian government, and they are advising protesters. Now, that would sound like the U.S. is fighting on the ground an enemy, which are the people, the nationalists and others that probably don't want to be, beaten or set on fire by the Ukrainian government, which is pretty desperate. All the fun and games is over with. I don't know if you saw the video of the Ukrainian helicopter. It got shot down by, who knows, probably FSB or, Russians on the ground, but was firing rockets. Okay, so they're shooting rockets at people, civilians, allegedly, or whoever they are. This is the kind of thing that we would take to the World Court to indict Bashar al-Assad, and we are supporting this. I mean,
absolutely. This is. We all remember. You got it. You'll cue it up if I speak for 3 seconds. We came. We saw. He died. Mm-hmm. That is the kind of thing that Muammar Gaddafi was accused of. Butchery, barbarism against his own people, and we are thick in supporting this, ladies and gentlemen. Thick.
It's almost too delicious to believe, my friend.
And that culpability, it's going to come home to roost. It's not, it's we use waterboarding to baptism, to baptize terrorists. These things that are happening in our name have consequences that go way beyond the beating of the drums of patriotism, and it's our men, our women, our blood, our treasure that inevitably is at the altar of the sacrifice of these central bankers that will not be denied.
They will not be denied. They cannot be denied.
Central banker would not be denied.
Absolutely not. Would not. All right,
that's awesome. That is awesome clip.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, really? All right. I used my Silvernote system here that Craig gave us, and I put that directly in there. Kentucky Derby, horse named Central Banker wins, teeth gnashing ensues. That's what I wrote.
Gnashing of the teeth.
Gnashing
I just got a warning by a great site. I love David Benacourt. You know what? I don't even know the name of his site. What is it? But I get his stuff every day. I'm subscribed to his.
I don't even know who Doug Casey is.
Oh wow, he's a big gold guy. But he's ETF Daily, and he just sent me an alert. Warning: the Ukraine is at a flashpoint. And I was starting to mill.
Did you stamp that Captain Obvious? Hello.
Really? Is it?
I think a little bit.
Well, you know what? I was called a little bit of an alarmist by a Russian journalist, or at least a journalist working for RT, because I said, this ain't over. This ain't over, man.
Are you being an alarmist, Charlie McGrath?
Yeah, I guess I was, but I was prophetic in my alarmness nature.
Well, he didn't know that CIA was on the ground there with the protesters and Victoria Nuland and all of the cast and characters from Hollywood. You have George Clooney there handing out candy, and John McCain. It's a whole different. I mean, this is what's so ridiculous. It's like, oh, the Russians, they are violating the sovereignty of the Ukrainians. I'm like, well, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Well, we're freedom fighting and helping liberate the people. Apparently, these people don't want to be liberated by the IMF. I'm just saying they don't really look like it, or at least a lot of them. I don't think you have even popular consent, and so it's just. I don't know. I think these are some of the last throws, the last wars that the U.S. can wage under our own banner. I don't know. The Internet is really making it hard for them to gut check.
I don't think they give a crap, Owen. I really don't.
But they're not winning. This is the problem. They're not winning, and they don't have the ability. They don't have the moral high ground anymore.
No, man. I don't know. Listen, moral high ground is a thing of yesteryear, right? The crap that Reagan did with North, that was shocking, and we had trials.
But we had Europe, we had Thatcher. I mean, this is the thing. We have a house divided amongst itself. Europe doesn't want this.
Yes.
Germany doesn't. So,
you know what? But listen, that is winning for the central banker that won't be denied. That is winning. Destabilization is winning. A nation, a country, a planet that doesn't know what end is up is a malleable beast that can be that can be harnessed, and their wealth can be stolen, and that's exactly winning to these central bankers that won't be denied. And so you see this crap going on in Ukraine, the bloodier, the messier, the more confusing, the better. Just like North Africa, just like the Middle East, just like the planet is turning into a battleground, the confusion is the author of profit for the central banker that will not be denied.
Got a couple statecraft articles here. FBI agent arrested in Pakistan on weapons charges. This is pretty telling.
I have not heard this one.
Oh, this is a goodie. This is a goodie that didn't get a lot of play in the U.S. media, but the Washington Post reported on it. So, I mean, it's mainstream. An FBI agent is being held on anti-terrorism charges in Pakistan after he attempted to carry ammunition onto a plane in Karachi. Pakistan officials said Tuesday the agent was detained by airport police in Karachi at 4 p.m. Monday when he tried to board a Pakistani International Airlines flight to Karachi from Karachi to Islamabad. He was in possession of 15 bullets and a magazine for a 9mm pistol, officials said. The U.S. officials in Washington confirmed that the agent, who was assigned to the FBI Miami field office, was in Pakistan on temporary duty, but the nature of his work in Pakistan remains unclear. And if they don't want to tell you about it, they're hiding something. U.S. officials requested that the agent's name be withheld, citing sensitivity. But this is big news in Pakistan. They don't have a lot of other things going on, so they just broadcast pictures of this guy in his cage. And, they're holding him there like a trophy. Like,
I think it is a trophy. That would be.
So the Washington Post goes to his parents, who I don't even think are probably really his parents, but they said, of course, this is un-FBI related work. So my question is, who goes to Pakistan for 2 weeks to do secretarial work with a gun? Who?
No one.
No one. That's no one. Thank you, Charlie McGrath.
Yeah. I'm just being logical here. I mean, Pakistan, ally in the war on terror, just like Libya was. We're not the most beloved nation on the planet.
Not in Pakistan.
Not in Pakistan. They're getting a little tired of drone strikes and dead Pakistanis as a result of these drone strikes.
It destabilizes their government, because if your government can't, and I've said this over and over again, provide protection, that's what governments do. Okay, you pay taxes because they protect you, your property, blah, 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 or ostensibly. If you're blowing up people left and right, if the U.S. government comes in and blows up people, the Pakistani government has a hard time selling the fact that they're in charge and that they are protecting
Invest in
you.
Pakistan.
Yeah, you're not buying it. You're not buying in. Another one bites the dust. CIA power play ousts DIA chief. The DIA Defense Intelligence Agency, which is the counter to the CIA. Washington Post reported this as well. 2 top officials at the DIA said Wednesday that they will retire from those positions in the coming months, part of a leadership shakeup at the agency that is under pressure to trim budgets and shift focus after more than a decade of war, current and former U.S. officials said. Lieutenant General Michael Flynn is expected to end his tenure as DIA director this summer, about a year before he's scheduled to depart. So the CIA, man, they are moving ahead. They are consolidating, and now they're taking on this new role, because it used to be they were separate to the military. The Defense Intelligence Agency was a counter for foreign wars, and budgets.
The CIA saying we want it all. We want the power. We want the control.
They're running the drone program. John Brennan's on the ground from time to time in Ukraine. They're running the show. I don't want a bunch of these rogue generals deciding that they're not going to play. And, I mean, when you look at what happened with Benghazi, and can't stop talking about it. One of the things that really threw a turd in the punch bowl was these military generals saying, no, we didn't get the call. No, that did not happen. Countering Hillary Clinton's comments, making her a liar, countering other people in the White House, Jay Carney, and making them, pull out the old innocent of Muslims, the innocence of Muslim video whole deal. And they're like, yeah, it's the bunch of guys that are really upset with Bin Laden's driver that we just released from Gitmo. And well, and now we talked about this last week. We found out that yes, they were taking weapons from this huge weapons depot to Syria, to Ukraine, bringing in mercenaries and contractors from Jordan, working with the folks that Saudi Arabia was sending and funding, dropping them in non-friendly territories around the world. So it's really interesting to see how this is just a huge consolidation and how they're targeting all of these military brass.
Yeah, no doubt, and that has been ongoing for the last couple of years. There's a very extensive list of military men who have been retiring. Some of them, it seems like, forced out over the last several years. So you got to wonder: is General Michael Flynn, will he lead the revolution, Doug? Will he take the country back?
I doubt it.
Me too. But I do find it interesting that you talk about Benghazi. Are we talking about that again? Because Hillary is the heir apparent on the lefty side or on the blue team, and I don't know if you had a chance last week to see the former National Security Council spokesman Tommy Vidor. Did you see his interview? And Fox. It was on Fox News, which was obviously
is it one of the Sunday morning shows?
Yes, Fox.
Okay.
Fox. I think it was Fox and Friends Sunday. I don't know. Maybe it was during the week. I don't know. But the gist of it was, he's a former National Security Council spokesman, and he looks like he's like 15 years old. Now, not only does he look like he's 15 years old, when asked about changing the script on what happened in Benghazi, his response was, literally, I'm not making this up. He says, dude, that was like 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so like 2 years ago. How am I supposed to remember that?
Yeah, man. Why are you like talking about old stuff, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, wow. All right. So we have 4 dead Americans, CIA operatives dead in Benghazi. And we got this.
Big deal. More died under Rumsfeld's watch, 52. And that's the thing is that when you try to make it a left-right, Republican, Democrat thing, you try to polarize. That's what they've been able to do is polarize the discussion.
Purposefully.
Oh, absolutely. They've completely polarized it, so it's only self-serving. The talking points that they are pushing forward are completely to diminish an opponent in this ridiculous childish game.
Yeah, the Palin backers will push that lever a little bit harder, and the Hillary backers will push their lever a little bit harder.
It's payback for that old saying, nobody died when Clinton lied. Well, see, they can't use that anymore, and that was going to be their 2016, button campaign. It's going to be nobody died when Clinton lied. Like, oh, dang it, we can't use it again. Jeez.
Interesting. But it is very apparent why she skedaddled out of that position.
Yeah, I mean, the point is that the government already had a preconceived Rubbermaid reason why this happened.
The Muslim video. Yeah.
Yeah, and we all know that they were. I think, and I don't know if I've actually postulated this to you, but I believe that they were going to recreate an Argo situation. They wanted Ambassador Stevens to be kidnapped. They ended up killing him and botched this whole media event. It got out of control, and that's why clearly Hillary was so upset about this, because you had a guy who had he'd just come from Gitmo, and all of a sudden he's there on the ground. Everything that they said about the reasons that this all happened, the protests that they had, these intelligence alerts about. That's the issue, is that who created these intelligence alerts? Okay, this wasn't really happening, and all of these things had to be fabricated, and they were using that, in my estimation, and I'm just using a little applied common sense here, as a way to pre-stage what was going to happen on the ground there. They already had the cameras turned towards Libya. They already had the media ready to go. And then, oops, they killed this guy. And they didn't just kill him. They butt-raped him with broomsticks. It was brutal, and it was a message to everyone in the world. And this is, I think, spun out of control. That's why, the whole narrative was already pre-created, pre-positioned, pre-staged. That's one of the big takeaways. Washington's blog did a great piece for big takeaways that nobody's talking about, because now it's blaming well, you didn't use the military. Your response, but Barack Obama was drunk and didn't call a general. All of those things are not even, really, I think, valid talking points.
It's distractions, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, why was all of this pre-positioned? And it was an obvious false flag. It was a media op that went south.
It went sour. That went completely sour, and then had to be ran away from as fast as humanly possible. But so I guess we're going to see if there's any true debate left in this country coming into 2016.
They burned it out. They burned the topic, and they made it so polarizing. Well, Donald Rumsfeld, there's a lot of people that died. See, so it's not just Hillary, and they've got a point because they're trying to make it all about demonizing Hillary because the Republicans are scared of Hillary. Obviously, she if she does run, she will win. And
does
she might not. She might not run. I don't know if she's physically up for it, but if she is and she can, I think she will.
She's going to run unless this is turned into something that makes it impossible for the Bilderbergers to put her into that position of power, which I think she's the next president.
Well, you and 80% of the population here. In the
I'm going on a limb here. I'm really going on a limb.
So,
want to hear about this?
Go ahead.
I'm switching gears. I'm going back to chit chat. Sorry.
I'm just gonna. I have some chit chat stuff here. Nothing.
All right.
Nothing too big. I was going to throw a couple things into the.
Throw it at me. Let's go. I want to tell you
Dallas,
about that
Texas
fight.
ends over 50 years of water fluoridation. It's newsworthy.
Ooh, that is.
Anti-war fluoridation advocates have been successful in the removal of fluoride in the water supply in Dallas, Texas. The ban comes after 5 decades of water fluoridation, but more and more people around the world have been gathering to put a stop to the practice over the last few years. So people are excited.
What about
this.
Austin? Are you fluoride free in Austin?
I don't know. I don't live in Austin, but I don't think that they are. I think that they still put fluoride.
Are you fluoride free? You're going to well, aren't you?
No. I use regular municipal water, but I use my Berkey, and I've got the porcelain filters, so I get at least a lot of it. Most of what, the biggest thing I think that you have to worry about is the amount of chlorine. Chlorine's great at killing bacteria and giving people, pretty reasonably safe water, but it's cancerous, and you can smell it in the water.
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
That's the big thing. So, I mean, even if you take fluoride out of the equation, which we do literally with the filter, you still have the chlorine problems, the biggest problem that we have here. I mean, you can smell it. So I have a water softener to kind of mitigate some of that stuff. But, I just fluoridate it. I mean,
there you go.
Because I just remove the fluoride myself.
You just take it out, yeah.
Or as much as you can.
What's your next chit-chat?
Let's see. Flying American flag. This is one that Craig probably talked about with
now,
you.
Right? No, we didn't talk about it, but I saw that article. You're a racist if you fly the American flag now.
Racist if you fly the American flag. There's one day out of the year since 2010. Morgan High School has been reigniting this debate about whether or not you can wear the American flag on Cinco de Mayo. I thought it was funny that, the kings of political correctness, one of the outlets for propaganda, leftist BS, got, I guess, lambasted by their own offendigencia, the people that are always offended. They're always, it doesn't matter what it is, they're always shocked and awed and saddened. So one of the guys on one of their morning shows, I think it was, put on a sombrero, was drinking tequila, was basically talking about Cinco de Mayo. And they're like, oh, that's racist. You can't put on a sombrero, gringo. That is horrible. And it's so funny because if you turn on most of their commercials, during Cinco de Mayo, what's every major corporation doing? Selling tequila and people in sombreros. I mean, that's what, Jose Cuervo, brought to you by Jose Cuervo. What is it? It's a guy that's probably not even Hispanic wearing a sombrero on a bottle of grain alcohol that they call tequila. Now, that's fine. That's not racist. But and this is the thing. It's part of this gotcha society that we have. It
is. But it's also part, and I'm going to add this to my list because I'm keeping a list. Right? I've got Sterling. I've got Bundy. Now I've got Cinco de Mayo, all being thrown into the limelight as under the umbrella of racism.
American flag racist? It's racist
American,
to be
yeah, because
I mean, this one just makes me laugh because it's like, well, I mean, okay, who's wearing these American flags, and are they so upset by the illegal immigrants that they're chanting at USA and yelling profanities and threats at Latinos? Because if that's really what's happening, then yeah, there's a little bit of ethnocentrics going on here. There's a little
ethnophobe.
There's kind of xenophobia going on here, but maybe that's why they did this. I think.
Okay, the question is it new? Is it new? And
No.
it's not. I mean, this isn't new.
It's going to be here next Cinco de Mayo as well.
Exactly, but so is Sterling and his disgusting nature, and so is the views of people such as Bundy. Although I don't believe him to be a racist. I don't think what he said was racist, but I think it was a way to diffuse in the media that situation. But the narrative is racism, race baiting, because it's 2014, and we're going to see more and more and more of this hit the establishment media. And I don't care, fill in the blank, whatever, if it's Cinco de Mayo or Sterling. These are things that have occurred. They occurred before this, and they're going to occur after this. But it's coming in. Racism is coming back into the limelight in full, in hard, in earnest, because it's 2014, and it's time to gin up a little bit of hostility.
Yeah, there was a UFC world champion, a Hispanic guy. I don't know. This is probably about 2 years back.
Cain Velasquez?
Yeah, have you seen his tattoo on his chest?
Brown Pride.
Brown Pride. Now, I mean, here's the irony. If I went to the UFC and had a tattoo on my chest that said White Pride would not be good. Would not be good.
Well, let me tell you something right now. I'd never be the one to tell Kane that he's out of line, because he's a beast.
Yeah, well, that's the deal. And it's okay to be a racist unless you're white. And people are like, that's not right. That's not fair. Well, yeah, that's
fair, right, not. It's true.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And I think I see this, and that is one of the things that I think a lot of people are offended by, because we had the brutal racism that through integration, and what that really created. I think also forcing integration, lots of hostilities, lots of racial issues. I mean, if you look at all of the socio and economic and race baiting that happened in the 20th century in this country, there's plenty of it. And it's always very easy to get people to pick at one another rather than
absolutely, and by design. And it's a trick that's been used over and over
so well, because
it works
people
so
are
well.
so stupid. Oh, they're
right,
so stupid.
Exactly. That's exactly. I'm not a racist, but I'm a stupidest.
It's just like the people here that one day out of the year that they want to wear their American flags, probably Cinco de Mayo. Every other day of the year, they're like, oh, well, whatever. But all of a sudden, people get all nationalistic whenever it's convenient, or they want to be offended. But nonetheless, I think you should be able to wear your American T-shirt whenever you want.
I'm going to talk about an Argentinian.
What about the bong? Wait, go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead. Bong.
I was just going to say, remember the Bong Hits for Jesus kid?
Yeah.
If he can wear his Bong Hits for Jesus T-shirt, I think people can wear the American flag.
The American flag.
We are in
America.
And
they're going to continue. It certainly doesn't need to be a national story, I don't believe.
Well, people get, people see the attacks on freedom of speech happening right here in this country, and a lot of people are sick of political correctness, and when they see that, it smacks of it, and it gets people, including myself. I get upset about it because I'm just so sick of everybody being so worried about other people's feelings. Oh, well, if we let people, wear American flag T-shirts, they're going to feel, the Hispanic people are going to feel offended. It's like,
what bothers me about it isn't as much, you're going to have that guy, right? The uber offended on everything guy or gal.
Right.
And who gives a crap? Let them spend their life suffering in that misery that is their life. But what bothers me, what really gets me upset about it, is that it is such a handy tool for our system, for our political system, and it is used over and over again. And I've been saying the whole program that every time that we get close to either to cover something else like Benghazi,
Oh no!
Or some other
Skype stop. What do you? This is 2 times. For God's sakes! Every time we do Doomcast, something blows up here. Really I'm not that guy usually that thinks that the government is messing with the show. Because there's always that guy. The government doesn't want me on YouTube. Sometimes I wonder. Been taking a lot of low blows at Bill Gates lately. That's all right. It adds to the mystique of the podcast, obviously.
There it is. There it is.
Ooh, you just mysteriously went away and Skype crashed on me.
Yeah, interesting. Getting a little too close to the truth here is what I'm thinking.
I'm thinking as well. All right.
I think we're over an hour anyway, but I do want to inform you of a PressTV call. Did you watch that video?
I did.
Ooh, she does not like me, that lady.
The PressTV babe?
Ooh, she does not like me.
She had a nice burqa.
She had a nice burqa, and they call me late night. And that's the way they're rolling, I guess. They're hey, can you interview in 15 minutes? And it's Tehran, right? So I'm talking to whatever her name was.
Why is everybody in America a madman with a gun trying to kill everybody?
I know. And
I think that there was a little bit of an anti-Americanism in her tone.
I do believe so. Anti-gun, if nothing else.
Are average Iranian people allowed to have firearms?
I'm absolutely positive not.
Really?
I don't believe that's the case. But I'm not an expert on their domestic policy, but I'm going to go with hell no.
Right. Yeah, probably not.
And she's selling the reason on why we shouldn't be either. And I hope, I said it to you because I'm hoping I did a good job at trying to defend our Second Amendment to an Iranian lady who was reading a teleprompter, obviously.
Yeah. When you countered with other points, she's like, I just read that off my teleprompter. Probably not true, American. I don't trust you. I thought you did a great job, and I thought that you definitely I represented the Second Amendment loving people in this country and why you need to have that ability to throw off the chains of a tyrannical government with your 6-shooter if you need to.
That's right. But here's how you know. Well, first of all, I know it wasn't. They thought the interview was good. They thought I did a job. I did a good job, but obviously it wasn't what they were shooting for. In the, no pun intended.
Right.
The reason that I know that is because that's what the producer told me. He goes, "You did a great job, but obviously, and I said, "Yeah, I figured it wasn't going along with the gist of the story." But and I think they were hoping for something different. But the true tale was when they sent me the link to that video. They had it. They didn't have it posted on their PressTV YouTube channel, which I think is a fairly popular YouTube channel. They had posted it up on Daily Motion, which I thought, okay, well, they don't want that one getting out under their name, I guess.
Huh.
Yeah, well, it'll happen. It'll happen.
So
Madonna with Mayweather fight.
Yeah,
I'm a boxing aficionado. You know that.
You know what? I haven't been interested since he's been 3 years ago. He should have fought Pacquiao. I've been out since then.
Yeah, I don't blame you one bit, and not one bit. And and I'm sure we've talked about it before that I'm not I love boxing. I used to do a little bit of it, but the game itself is tainted beyond belief. And I'm not a Mayweather fan.
$7 million a minute is what Mayweather made.
Yeah, well, I don't begrudge him of that, but I do think that fight was. I scored it, right. I sat here with a coworker, and we scored that fight. And the prediction was it was ridiculous. I mean, he was a 12-1 underdog. Maidana is who he ended up fight. Who he fought.
Yeah, the guy that nobody knows who he is or what his name.
Well,
is.
I saw him fight. I saw him fight Adrian Broner, and Adrian Broner makes me want to literally vomit every time he opens his mouth. And he fought. He lost to Maidana in a brilliant, beautiful, beat down fashion. No way that they could have made a mistake on that judging. But he ended up fighting Saturday night as well, and he opened his mouth and was just a punk, just a piece of filth. And but he was claimed to be the next Mayweather coming up because at the time he was undefeated. Well, Maidana put a beating down on him and then earned the title or the chance to go fight Mayweather. And that fight was I scored it. I had it 7-5 for Maidana. Now, I'm not that impartial because I wanted to see Mayweather get beat. Maybe one round was questionable, so I was thinking either a win or a draw. One judge had it a draw, and the two other ones gave it to Mayweather. But it was a really, really good fight, and I'm sure it was just really, really good, good enough that they can sell it again in September.
I wish they wouldn't. My God. They need to do something with boxing. It's just become so. One of the problems is that you don't get the fight you want. Regardless of what you think of the UFC, the best two people fight. Okay, they don't get to sit down and negotiate with criminals and other scumbags for millions and millions and millions of dollars for make you wait a year. So I think that there's still a lot of people that are alive that really like boxing and remember it for all of it, what it was. But like now it's just so bad. Yeah. And the contenders. Yeah, and go ahead.
You bring up Pacquiao. I mean, that fight should have happened years ago.
Even if it happens tomorrow, I won't be nearly as excited as I would have. One of the guys wants to be a politician. One of them wants to buy the Clippers. I mean, Yeah, and the fight won't be the same fight it would have been just even 5 years ago, right? Because they were both Pacquiao for sure. I think was a better fighter then than he is now. But the fact that that deal couldn't be done because of inside baseball and boxing is that in and of itself could turn you off of that sport because it truly was. That truly would have been a classic fight, not this crap with Canelo Alvarez and Mayweather. That was a foregone conclusion that was going to happen. It's boring now. The rematch will be boring. I don't even care if Mayweather loses. It's just, I don't know. It's just so boring now. I can't think of anything better. It's lackluster. It's uninteresting to me. And I used to really like boxing when I was younger and followed it and paid for the pay-per-views. And I wouldn't even waste my time trying to pirate it, clicking through all of the pop-ups that you have to deal with, trying to find it on the net. I wouldn't do it. I mean, I guess, if there was some of my interested friends that were going to go to a bar for some adult beverages and a little, hangout time, sure. But it's not an event that I would go out of my way for. But, that's because they've just let that sport
go to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah, and there's nobody there that's really doing anything to make sure that great fights are getting out there. I mean, the fans are the least considered in boxing. But it's from that old era. I mean, when you look at baseball, I mean, you get guys that are getting $130 million contracts. And you say, well, why are they getting so much more money than football players, considering the amount of work versus the entertainment value, the money that's generated? And it comes right down to they've got a great union. They've been around a lot longer, and they can garner those kind of huge paydays. Same thing for
obviously
boxing.
The money must be there. They must be generating that income if they can pay that kind of money.
There's just less money for ownership. I mean, there's still huge, and this is the thing. I mean, there's still huge profit potentials, but you don't see those kind of contracts for football players. And when you look at the NFL in popularity compared to baseball is now in the United States on par with soccer.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
That's true. It's true.
Is that true?
It is absolutely true. As far as
not in my mind, it's not true. And let's be.
But this is the thing. I mean, you're 40 years old. You're not one of the many, many millions of immigrating South Americans that are now living here that are part of the culture.
I'm not a soccer dad.
No. Probably not.
You're right. You're right about that. But in baseball, they do play 180 games. There's a lot more potential for revenue, even if the park's not full all the time. So I mean, I think it brings in more money. I'd like to see that stat. Does the 16 games of the NFL equal the income of the 182 games of Major League Baseball?
I don't know. I really I don't know about all the money, but when it comes to popularity and
no doubt that football's far ahead of baseball. I agree with that 100%.
Because it's always must-see TV. That's the problem with basketball. That's the problem with baseball. It's not must-see TV. There's hundreds of games that don't matter. And people don't care. And you look up into the stands. I've been to Minute Maid Park. But, there's just nobody there. They just don't. I mean, there's people there, and don't get me wrong. I mean, a place like Houston, you'll get a good turnout even, on a Tuesday night.
And I've been to, even though I'm a hick from Montana, I've been to pro football and pro baseball games, and there's absolutely no question which one I'd rather go see live, and it ain't football. It
depends on if you want to sit around and read a book like Hillary Clinton.
Well, baseball is a family. I mean, you go out there and, the game's going on, and you might not be paying attention, but it's a fun day. It's a fun 3-hour, 4-hour afternoon. And
it's like Doomcast. I mean, it's just really enjoyable. You can do it with your kids. You can hang out.
Well, unless Doug's on a rant and talking all potty mouth.
Well, that's true, but that's all right. It's nothing that they haven't heard at school. You can go to Doomcast.com and look at Charlie McGrath's girlfriend. That's probably is that your girlfriend?
Which one?
Who's the woman in the Doomcast shirt?
Oh, that's my. I completely forgot about. God dang it! And I don't have stats for our team. That's our baseball team. That's our softball team, Doug Owen.
That's your softball team, and they're wearing Doomcast.com T-shirts.
She's got Doomcast gear.
So this is your baseball coach? I mean, who is this?
No. She's she's the head of the team. That's her team. Team Doomcast. Doomcast.com rather.
Okay.
And I bought the shirts for them. And we're going to get weekly reports. Now they're 1-0. They slaughtered their competition. It was 16-4. And starting with this weekend's game, I will have statistics on the players, and we're going to get to know some of these players.
You know what? You told me that your better half is. You told me her ethnicity, and I just realized
she's Latina, and the girl you're looking at most certainly is not.
No. Yeah, well, I saw the
blonde
picture.
As they get.
Yeah, you sent me this picture Saturday morning of this blonde chick in a Doomcast.com T-shirt. I'm
She's
like,
a doomer.
Who is this? Oh, it must be. And immediately I said, well, this has to be Charlie's girlfriend. And
well, it's not. I mean, she's a friend that's a girl, but that's about us. And she's the captain of the team Doomcast.com.
Well, that's pretty awesome that she would allow her team to be named Team Doomcast just for some...
Are you kidding? She got free T-shirts. Of course she did.
Free? Allah. I see how it works. Are you saying that people do things because they're free?
I say people do anything for a T-shirt. I've ran 26.2-mile marathons for a T-shirt. So it's amazing the power a piece of Chinese fabric holds into it. And in this case,
this company, you spend $30,000 a year with them with swag stuff, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot of stuff.
The T-shirt slash... all kind of pins.
So the Doomcast team, the Doomcast softball team, rocking
team
the shirts.
Doomcast. 1-0. We're going to get updates. We're going to get to know some of these players. It's a co-ed team, but it's mainly girls. And obviously, we'll have more pictures coming up and get you.
And how do you? How are you part of this? Is this? Are you playing?
Oh no. I've known Ashley for several years, and when I first met her, she was the barista at the drive-up coffee place that I went to, and she still actually has a job there, but we became friends through there, and I had sponsored her through my day job in the past and had the company I work for be their sponsors for their softball team, but it's really just a nice gesture because you're not going to get a lot of traction advertisement-wise for a wholesale distributor sponsoring a softball team that 95% of the people in the population of the town where I live don't even know our company because we can't sell to the general public. We only sell to retail outlets. So this go around, I thought, well, I'll dump out the $200 and buy some T-shirts for these guys, but I'm going to get some traction for me and Doug Owen.
They're going to listen to it and they're going to be like, what the hell? These guys are broken old guys complaining about healthcare for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay for this freaking colostomy bag. It shouldn't cost $1,000. This is bullcrap.
Who's going to pay for my stent?
Oh, you kids, buy your Obamacare so Grandpa can get more Viagra.
My name's Charlie McGrath. My website's wideawakenews.com. My co-founder, my partner is Doug Owen. His website is blacklistednews.com. You can contact me at info@wideawakenews.com. You can contact Doug at doug@blacklistednews.com. And please head over to Doomcast.com. Check out the latest uploads from our producer, Craig Simpson, as well as the donate tab so we can get a new microphone because this one sucks.
Yeah.